of the Community Design Review Board of Maplewood. Today is Monday, February 24th, 4:30 p.m. So we will start by with roll call, and we see that we have everyone here except for Bruce Thompson. That gives us a quorum. We can proceed. Next is approval of the agenda. Is there any changes, et cetera? Staff.
Chair and members of the board, there are no changes to the agenda as presented.
Okay. Any comments from the board?
No. I make a motion to approve the agenda for the February 24th.
We have a motion and a second. We'll call that to a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It sounds like it's unanimous. Then we will go to the approval of the minutes of January 21st, 2020. Any corrections, staff?
Chair and board note amendments to the minutes as presented.
Okay. Any comments from the board?
No.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move approval.
Okay, good.
I second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call that to a vote.
I'll abstain.
Okay, we have all those in favor?
Aye.
Were you here? Are you
Yeah.
abstain?
For the January one I was.
Okay, so we have 3 approved and 1 abstain. We'll move on to the next thing, which is unfinished business. St. John's Hospital Comprehensive Sign Plan, 1575 Beam Avenue East. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair and board. As I get into a brief overview of the comprehensive plan amendment that you're reviewing, I do want to just point out, obviously, we're at a rescheduled meeting due to the lack of quorum last week. There is a city council workshop that starts at 6, so we would need to be out of this room at no later than 5:45. Just keep that in mind as we go through tonight's business. So with that, this item was at your January CDRB meeting. It was tabled with the request that the applicant do further work on their proposal. We are looking at a comprehensive sign plan for the St. John's Hospital campus at 1575 Beam Avenue. The applicant is requesting a sign plan amendment to replace 4 wall signs and reface the other signage on the campus. Oops. So these 3 images show kind of the transition. The left is what is current conditions. The middle image is what was reviewed and proposed at your January meeting. And then the far right image is what the applicant has come back as proposed moving forward with their comprehensive sign plan. The applicant is present tonight and can answer additional questions, but just show the next image to show how this signage then would carry out through the rest of the campus. Not meant to read this again on the screen, but this is from your staff report. I just kind of want to get this out there and then allow you to have more time with discussion and possible questions from either staff or the applicant. But with that, staff is recommending approval of the comprehensive sign plan amendment for St. John's Hospital as indicated by the conditions listed in your staff report and the plans that were attached with your staff report. Staff is available for any questions.
Okay.
I don't have any questions for staff.
Okay. I don't either. Applicant, would you like to come forward? State your name for the record.
Certainly. Good evening, board members. My name is Rick Ferraro from Spectrum Sign Systems, and I'm representing M Health Fairview in the rebrand.
Okay. Well, we see that we had an objection last time about cabinet signs being so prominent along Beam Avenue, and see that you have proposed something different. In my opinion, it looks much better. There is still a cabinet sign on the main entrance. Can you describe why that is there?
Sure, and thanks for asking the question. So the reason that we are proposing and showing a cabinet sign on actually sign drawings 4 and 5 of your packet is that there are certain fabrication tolerances, okay? And so when we get below a letter of 8 inches, we are unable to fluently illuminate those letters. That's the reason that we're showing the illuminated, we call it a logo display, okay? Because the Fairview letters at that point are not fabricatable as individual illuminated letters.
Okay.
Okay. And then this is the sign, that entrance, that is pretty much not visible from Beam Avenue.
That is correct. It
Yeah.
is not.
just from your own parking lot. Okay,
My thoughts are that they look dramatically better with the architecture of the building, particularly for the signs that you guys addressed.
okay.
Which is the cabinet sign you're referring to?
If you look on the screen, the one all the way to the right, there is still a small cabinet sign there, the yellow and red sign.
What was the reason for that yellow?
It has to be a cabinet sign, from what I understand, because they can't get backlit letters that small. And they have to have this proportion because of requirements with their new partnership with the university. Am I stating this correctly?
Correct. And the illuminated logo display does represent the University of Minnesota mHealth Fairview branding standards. And that's something that's being used across the system at our 10 hospital sites and 66 clinic sites wherever possible.
The yellow is being used too?
The gold, sir, yes.
Okay.
Well, I think the revised proposal is, I think it addresses the comments of the board from the last meeting, and I thank you for the improvements. So I guess with that, I would like to make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
I would move that the Community Design Review Board approve the amendments to the comprehensive sign plan for St. John's Hospital at 1575 Beam Avenue, subject to the conditions outlined in staff report.
Okay, we have a motion,
I second that motion.
and we have a second. Any further discussion? Let's call it to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That sounds like unanimous. Congratulations, you can go ahead and proceed.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Okay. See, we're doing pretty good on getting out of here in time for the city council.
Move it along, huh?
Let's see how the next one is. But next is item 2F, Menard Incorporated, 2280 Maplewood Drive, design review and lot division resolution. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair and Board. This was another item that was before you in your January meeting and was tabled with specific directions from the board to take further look at the building elevations. I do want to point out that the elevations were revised and did not fully meet what staff had recommended initially and is still recommending and is looking for direction from the board, but we are looking for that direction in the form of an action would be the ideal solution or end result tonight is the city council ultimately is the body that will make these decisions on this specific project. So I just want the board to please keep that in mind as we do review that. So please reflect on what the staff recommendations are versus what the applicant has submitted thus far and what your end goal would like to be. So with that, the project again, just for a brief overview, Menards is looking to tear down its existing facility, build a new store. As part of that, they are proposing to purchase 6 residential lots to the south of their existing facility and have land as part of its new store site. You can see the list of different council approvals that are required. The comprehensive plan amendment, zoning map amendment, conditional use permit amendment, setback variances were all reviewed at the planning commission. They recommended approval of those applications at their last meeting in January. The city council holds the public utility easements vacation public hearing. They'll slated to do that on March 9th. And then the last 2 items, design review and lot division, are contained in the resolution that's again before you for your consideration today. This is the revised site plan that Menards submitted between your last meeting and for today. You did receive a hard copy of this site plan, and it was also included in a smaller reproduction in the staff report itself. This revised site plan eliminates that access drive in the southwest corner of the site. So we are looking over at this portion of the site. So the applicant now is retaining green space and the pond that will have the stormwater directed into that pond for the site. So again, that access drive and also the parking stalls that were initially proposed along that south property line have also been eliminated. Those were both staff recommendations. Also, the warehouse in the southeast corner of the site has been shifted to the, based on the conditions that, again, were outlined in the staff report in January. So now that is meeting the minimums that were set by the conditions in that staff report and the required landscape buffers in adjacent to all residential properties near that warehouse areas are now also being met. Do want to point out on the site plan itself that the applicant did agree to, and it is now meeting all the staff recommendations from that January meeting. In terms of landscaping, the number of existing trees based on the changes that we just outlined, existing trees that are to remain on site now have increased from 8 to 81. Additional trees are being added to the south and east of the proposed warehouse, and namely 16 additional spruce trees along the boundary line facing County Road B. Here are the building elevations that were submitted by the applicant. So this is the main building overall, and just provide a quick glimpse at these as we move forward. And then these are the revised building elevations for the warehouse. And then these were renderings that the applicant submitted that were also included in your staff report. So based on the revised building elevations, the applicant has added a brick facade to the bottom half of the building. The remaining area of the elevation still includes a metal accent panel banding and a split face block on the upper half of that building. The left elevation, which staff had indicated some concern as it faces prominently to Highway 36, the applicant has added some architectural details to that elevation, namely in the brick columns. The rear elevation of the warehouse has been reduced in width as the width in terms of how it faces County Road B as they reconfigured the warehouse area to meet the staff recommended conditions from January, but is still using concrete block largely and has also added a Belgian edger. Staff is recommending that the applicant still, as was the case last meeting, replace all concrete block with a brick facade. We also took the lead of the CDRB from your discussion at the last meeting and recommending that the green metal banding and the metal panels from the entrances be replaced with a superior building material essentially, but the staff report and the conditions outline either brick, wood, or stone. So again, just wanted to only really focus on the items that were outstanding from your last meeting, provide more opportunity for you to have a dialogue amongst yourselves and with the applicant and staff as needed. So with that, staff is recommending approval with the conditions as outlined in the resolution attached to your report and can stand for any questions.
Okay, they're looking for a waiver of parking spaces.
Chair and commission, or chair and board, correct. They asked for a waiver much like their site has now, and based on our January discussions, it was a staff recommendation that they still provide at least 420 spaces, which the revised site plan does meet that.
Okay. How many parking spaces do they have right now?
On their existing site, I can pull that. That was detailed in our January staff report, existing. So just give me a moment while I pull that up. There we go. Chair and board, the current store site has 401 spaces.
Okay. So we're getting another 20.
Yep, correct.
Okay. And the new spaces will be compliant to our parking ordinance.
If I'm assuming you're meeting with parking stall width?
Yes.
Yes, their plans indicate 10-foot wide spaces.
Because they're not right now. They are 9-foot spaces
So,
as it
again,
is right now.
On the site plan that you received for the proposed project, there are 421 spaces, each at 10 feet wide.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions from?
So did you review some samples last time?
Yeah, we did.
Maybe you talked about the clear polycarbonate panels. Are they going to yellow over time?
Let's ask the applicant. That question was not raised in the previous
Nope.
meeting.
Okay.
Why don't you come on up? State your name for the record, please.
Nick Brenner, 5101 Menard Drive here, Eau Claire, Wisconsin, here on behalf of Menards. What's up? Can you repeat that question? Sorry.
Do you have any concerns of the polycarbonate panels yellowing over time?
Carbonate panels. Which ones are you referring to there? Let me just see where you're pointing.
On the right elevation, you indicate some,
Oh. I see what you're saying.
what is it?
Yeah, those are like a plexiglass type material that you see like on hangar doors. We call them hangar doors. Those are for our garden center. What those do actually in the summer months, we actually open them up so that the garden center can actually have some climate get into them. They're non-climate controlled areas. We have those on all of our stores, and they haven't been turning yellow yet. And it's been many, many years since we put those in, 10, 15 years,
Okay.
since we started putting them in.
Is the board okay with the vast expanse of green on the rear elevation and the right elevation?
There were multiple objections to those two facades having that much. As I understand it, the right elevation, it's inside of their yard where they have their storage. So you have
Correct,
an
yeah.
additional building that will be behind that particular elevation where they have their outdoor warehouse. And that has, as Mike mentioned, CMU block wall that would face County Road.
That's correct, both the right and the rear elevations that you see a lot of those green steel siding, those are for our overhang enclosures. Those are within the lumber yard, so we do have a 14-foot tall fence all the way around, and then we also have the accessory building in the back there. So it is very difficult to see those green panels from the outside. You usually only see them when you're inside the yard shopping at the store.
How deep is the overhang?
Like how wide it is, or
Yeah.
how tall, how wide?
How deep from the point where you're not covered by anything till you reach the building? How?
Oh, well, so the overhang is about, man, I don't know off the top of my head. I think it's about 20 feet from the actual main structure of the building
Okay.
to where those green steel panels come
So
down.
then inventory will be stored in that area?
Correct. That's where you have a lot of like our garden tools and cement bags and pumpkins, Christmas trees, those type of materials
Okay.
are stored underneath that overhang in the garden center there. And then in the springtime, we put plants in there. We open up those doors. We get the fresh air coming in.
Okay. Any other questions?
I guess, I just want to clarify, I know we haven't met with this, what you guys requested last meeting. I do hope that you do see the big steps we've taken forward to try and, compromise and make this happen. I can't stress enough that manufacturing is where this company got its foundation, is where it got its start. Mr. Menard started building pole barns in the 1960s and has added more and more construction or manufacturing processes throughout the years. The retail stores have become an outlet for those manufactured goods. So manufacturing remains at the heart of this company, and it is very, very important that we are able to build the stores that we build, whether it's a store, whether it's at the general office, whether it's a distribution center. We want to be able to use the materials that we manufacture to do that, and that is why we have proposed what we have today. We understand the city wants brick. The company wants to use its own product. We're hoping this is a good middle ground where the city and Menards can agree on a facade that works and make this project go forward.
So where you call out mountain red brick accent wall, is that a concrete brick or is it a clay brick?
Clay brick.
That is a clay brick?
That is not a material that the company manufactures. That is, as I said, our attempt to try and meet a middle ground here and get this project through.
Okay. Is there, how much an overhang is there above the polycarbonate panels?
I don't think there is one. You're talking the hangar doors that were mentioned before?
Yeah, on the right elevation? Kind of like the,
Yeah, so there's really not an overhang there.
no overhang there?
You're talking maybe a foot or two if that. Otherwise, it's flush.
Okay. But that's pretty close to like your warehouse area then?
Yep, so if you look at, so if you see on here, see these racks right here?
Yeah.
Sorry, it's small. Those are our concrete block products. So when you go and you get retaining walls, or you're getting pavers or edgers, or some sand, rock, all of those are stored in these racks. So that is part of our garden center. So in the summertime, those doors open up. Yes, it's right next to each other.
Okay.
And you're going into your shop to get your shovels, and you're going out to get your sand. Mulch is a
Yep.
big thing that's out there too. So it's all one general area.
Okay.
So those,
Yeah, not too visible to the public.
not when there's gonna be a fence here.
Okay. Very good. Let's see, and then, Mike, the city council will make a decision, or are we like the last stop if we vote in the affirmative?
Chair and board, no matter what you do, you're not the last stop in this process,
Okay.
because it is paired with other land use requests. The whole package goes to the city council for their final
Okay.
decision-making.
So they will have input on the design too, but
Correct.
they're depending on our wisdom.
Correct.
Okay, very good.
So Mike, the stormwater ponding areas look pretty small compared to this huge site. There's three little sections. I assume the engineer has looked at that and is satisfied with all that?
Chair and board, Nick can expand further. Yes, the city engineer has reviewed it, and those are not the only stormwater facilities, which I think Nick can expand upon.
Yeah, so actually what you see for the above-ground detention is not even half of what we're providing for this site. There is a massive underground detention system in the middle of this parking lot. If you look at these four lights in the middle, that entire area in between those lights is underground detention. So and I meant to bring this up to you, Mike, as well. We do have a revised civil set. I forgot to send that to you today. That will get to you when I get in the office next. But we have resubmitted to the watershed as well. They had a few more comments. We are expecting to be on their March 4th board meeting for approval for that too. So much more detention than what you can visibly see on the site plan, I guess is the point I'm trying to make.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you. Then in the audience, do I take it you are here, the ladies over on my left, are you here in regard to the Menards? We're not required to allow a public hearing, but, we'll allow it if you can if you have a statement you want to make that's brief and to the things that we actually have control over. So if somebody would come up. Nothing? Okay. Well, you do.
Chair and board members, I sincerely appreciate the opportunity to comment. Thank you so much. My interest in the project is in the amount of setback that is being provided between the outdoor storage yard area and the outdoor storage building and the property line to the south, and how that impacts the neighbors who are directly across the street on the south side of County Road B. Because this is a commercial project, I feel that having a commercial setback is inappropriate because it is located in a residential area. I feel that because the project is intruding into a single-family residential neighborhood, it should have greater setbacks than the code minimums. Perhaps a more appropriate setback would be that which is akin to where the houses are on the property, and that providing that additional setback will not only move the impacts further away from the adjacent neighbors, but it will also provide a greater buffer and a larger area for more enhanced landscapings and plantings and things like that that would also buffer the neighbors from the impacts of this proposal. So that was my main concern, is the location of that building and the fence that runs along County Road B right there. So, and I believe that is design, so I believe that would, if you were so inclined, be within your purview.
Okay,
Thank you very
thank
much
you.
for your time.
Mike, could you tell us how the proposed setbacks differ from the existing setbacks?
Sure, Chair and Commission, or Chair and Board. So to start from the original proposal that was before you in January, the applicant was proposing a 0-foot setback.
Right.
And they were asking for a variance, and that's where staff had recommended that that variance be denied. And that gets you to the site plan that you're seeing today, where they're meeting, as the speaker mentioned, the minimum for a commercial building, really the minimum for a non-single-family or double-dwelling building in the city is always 30 feet. So for multifamily and any other non-single-family double-dwelling building, that's the minimum setback from a right-of-way. To the, for residential, for a side yard, it can be anywhere from 50 to 100 feet. Now, and that's, again, where the applicant has asked for different setbacks depending on where they are within that site plan, and they have met staff recommendations thus far to that point. Back to the difference then on County Road B, if this were other single-family homes, the standard is in an established neighborhood that a new home couldn't be any closer or any further than the neighboring properties. So if you take into account the homes that are existing, even the ones that Menards is looking to potentially demolish, the closest home is about 36, 37 feet. Now, the rest of those homes, as you go along County Road B, do fall back quite a bit more, but for a new home, we would go off that 36 feet as being the closest, as right in that immediate neighborhood. But you can see, and just doing it by hand again, and this is an element we did look at as we were coming up with our recommendations. They can range from anywhere from 60 to 80 feet as you go to different homes along County Road B.
Okay, well, what I was wondering about is, what are the setbacks that they have right now in those same areas?
For the homes?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, maybe I'm not tracking.
The distance between the existing Menards building and
I see.
property lines.
So to the east of those, where there's the kind of that back lane that you can drive behind the building, it's approximately about 5 feet. Is that setback?
That's to the,
To the east.
yep, and so that would be to the 5 feet to the property lines of the residential properties?
To the east, correct.
Okay, and the new proposal is greater than that?
Well, in those areas, it would remain the same.
Remain the same.
But as you go into the new area that they want to build within the residential, the fence itself has to be set back at least 20 feet, which is meeting the code requirement.
Okay.
And then the applicant asked for a variance, and
Yep.
so that their new warehouse building would be at 50 feet, which is the minimum for a commercial building, but a commercial building this size would be technically up to 100 feet. So the staff is at this point recommending flexibility through a variance to allow the building to be closer than what code would require, but it's still going to meet that minimum of commercial building setbacks.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from us?
So there are some houses on the south side of County Road B?
Chair and Commission, that's correct. There are houses to the south side of County Road B. And I do want to just point out, on Bill's question about setbacks, it was staff's recommendation that the warehouse building would be at least 50 feet from the east, and on the applicant's plans, that shows just over 61 feet. So again, so we're talking the same numbers. That's what they're proposing.
There must be something wrong with the scale, because the 30 feet looks almost the same as the 61 feet.
Well, if you look at the arrows,
Oh, the
board
arrows
member
go
Shagard,
there,
they go
okay,
to different
okay,
spots.
Yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts, what we want to do? We can recommend approval of this, or we could just table it again and leave it up to the city council.
Chair and Commission, the action would not be tabling it. It would be, you would either deny it, or you can add your recommendations
Okay.
to the staff recommendations that if the project were to move forward, you would like to see inserted into the project.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
What would be the distance from the Menards building to the house on the south side of County Road B?
Sure, Chair and Commission. Let me just take a moment here to calculate that. So the warehouse building would be 30 feet from the right-of-way line. And then, and this is just approximate, but given the yard distance on homes across, on the south side of B, plus the right-of-way, you're looking at, 147-ish feet.
Okay,
I guess I do want to comment on Menard's position regarding the design of the building. And yes, we do see improvements in the design, and I think that's great. But as staff noted, they haven't gone all the way there. And this concept of we want to advertise the construction materials that we make and all that kind of thing in the use of our building. Well, that's a great thing, but they have sample boards all throughout the store of their materials. So, I think it, as far as that point is concerned, maybe I don't quite get it, but this facade is very prominent, and I think we need to do the best we can with that. So I would favor the board sticking to the recommendations which we provided at the last meeting. I don't think that it goes far enough. I think we need brick material on the entire front facade of the building. I think that, as I stated before, that the panels, the green panels over the entrance are, they're just not adequate. And we've seen Menards with other stores build a better and do better with their design. So I see no reason that we should receive a kind of a second-rate kind of design and construction materials. So I believe the board should stick by the recommendations that we provided, and I guess they're being additionally supported by staff in that regard. So that's my opinion.
okay. Nance, do you have any? Because we respect your opinion greatly.
Well, I wasn't here last in January,
Yeah.
but I did read your recommendation. And as I first threw out, I was more concerned about the rear elevation and the right elevation. I mean, I can see Matt's point on the front elevation. There's a lot of CMU there. It would benefit the building if the amount of brick was increased in proportion to the CMU.
Okay. Any other comments?
I would just, the same thoughts I had at the previous meeting, as we look at the precedents of some of the structures that have been renovated or rebuilt with the auto dealerships and various businesses along 36 and 61, we've had either architectural metal panels, not a corrugated metal panel, where we have seen metal panels used. You can
Like
see.
a Luca bond kind of.
Like a Luca bond, you see that with like the Audi dealership, you
Right.
see that with the.
High quality.
Yeah, it's an architectural material. It presents itself very different from a roll-formed, barn metal panel, which essentially is what the green metal panel is. And for that function in the country and for those uses, it's great. I just don't think this corridor, as prominent as this position is, at the intersection of 36 and 61, that it's the right material for this site. And I would stand by the recommendations that staff has put forward and that we put forward last time.
Okay. So would somebody like to make a motion on something?
Let's see here.
I think we have two parts of this. There's the,
From a parking, I don't think we've commented on the parking. I'm completely comfortable with the waiver of and the
Yeah.
parking as it is. I live really close. I shop at this Menards. And I never find that there's never enough parking there. There's always ample parking at
How
this.
many would code require for parking, and how many have they got here?
well, these plans have 421 spaces. I think the
Code was like 466.
code is much more, but then this is, I think it's a different kind of store that,
Yeah.
we have people buying big things.
We're
okay with this.
increasing the number of parking
And,
spaces.
and actually,
Situation.
and the spaces increased because now they're gonna be in compliance with our parking ordinance, which they're not right now.
Yeah, this would, they're going to add from what the existing site has, and there's already ample space for what the store loading is.
Yeah, and come winter, everything's up in the air anyway, because you can't see the lines, but, so. Okay, so I'm okay with the parking part of it, too.
Where is
The lot division, how do we feel about that?
Chair and board, the lot division is an action that would combine all the parcels into one. It's a misnomer in what it's called, but it's the city process to combine the 6 lots and the Menards lot into one parcel. It's more,
Right.
typically that's an administrative function, and that's
Okay.
why we placed it in this resolution as
Okay.
just to get it with all the
Yep.
other approvals.
Understand, and I don't see a problem with that part of the proposal.
By meeting the 20 and 30-foot setbacks that they're meeting and the vegetation that they added where the residential neighborhood is, they've taken huge steps from the first set of plans we've had on that side.
Yep.
Going back just to the elevations one last time, from the front of the building to that side storage building, the materials change again. Rather than doing brick where that accent is on the bottom, it went to a concrete product on the back where it faces the residential neighborhood. And I feel like we should have it, as we move forward with these elevations, we just gotta, the back of that building just needs to be consistent with the main building because it's gonna be a prominent, a lot of people are gonna frequent that, 30 feet from the road.
They'll see that part of the building.
They're gonna see
most
that, yeah.
Okay,
From the front of the road.
yeah, can you, on yours?
Yeah, can
I hate to
show-
open up mine because
No, no, no.
we don't have enough acreage on this desk here,
Yeah, so
Can you
if
show
you
me?
look here, this is where they have the red brick.
right?
And then as you go here to the backside, this changes
Yeah,
So this one is this,
to a
this one is
Belgian
this one,
edger,
isn't it?
just a
okay,
concrete block.
all right.
So and now it's the back of the warehouse building that would face.
Well, it would face the line of trees that will eventually
Would be the
grow.
back of this building.
So it
over
would be
here.
this picture here,
Yeah.
and you're thinking that the red brick should be here
Should be
also.
it should be consistent with the
Okay.
main building. Are you following, Matt?
Yep,
Along County Road.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah, here.
Okay, yeah,
That red brick here, because
yes, I agree.
I would agree with that too, so.
So now you need a motion, don't you?
We do. And I take it you're the guy to do it.
Mike is saying we can only make either one of two proposals, deny or accept.
No, Chair and Commission, or Chair and Board, you can definitely deny or accept what staff has, or add your own
So
conditions.
if we accept what staff has, there's conditions in this about
Correct, within the
improvement
re-
of the architectural.
Within the resolution
materials.
itself, under section 3,
Okay.
are the staff recommendations as they stand today. The board has complete control and ability to amend, revise, delete, add any conditions that you feel fit.
Okay.
It'll be right here. Is in here.
There's no page number.
It would be,
Third to last. well, that's
Yeah.
not true. So, toward the end.
Yeah.
okay, so this is really what we're looking at here.
Yeah, the second to last
Okay, so-
typed page.
So that replaces the concrete block with a brick facade.
Mm-hmm.
And then all green accent metal panels used in the main entrance must be replaced with stone, brick, or wood material. And columns supporting the main buildings. Entrance shall be built with brick, stone, or wood materials. Comfortable with that. And then we would have to put a fourth point that the storage warehouse to match main building. We don't have anything on the green panels on the back and the right side referenced here.
Because,
Thoughts?
the applicant's saying that's hidden from view.
Right, and I agree with that.
Comfortable with that?
I am
Okay.
too.
I'm comfortable with that. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the resolution date stamped today, February 24th. Items 1, 2, and then items 3 with an amendment to item E, that the storage warehouse brick facade on the County Road B facing elevation should match the building materials on the primary building. And then keeping the 3 staff recommendations for material adjustments.
I'll second that. And just to clarify, it's 8E adding.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Because there's lots of numbering.
You're right,
you know,
8E.
conventions here.
8E is the
Right.
spot. That's correct.
Okay.
Good.
So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Then let's call it to a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. So good luck with this.
Chair and Board, I'll just mention again, March 9th is when this is scheduled to go before the City Council.
Okay.
And speaking of that, we would like a representative from the CDRB to be present that night, since most of you are here. If we can follow up with you as well, but if there's someone that knew that they would be able to attend that evening, we would like to know.
Well, I think we should nominate Bruce for that.
We would like someone
So-
that'd be able to talk about what happened tonight.
Yeah.
But we,
Would-
and
Would you like to do it?
Let's discuss after. I just
Okay.
gotta look at my schedule. I
We'll
might-
figure it out.
okay,
I'm gonna
Okay.
be here.
yep,
so-
okay, that sounds good. And,
Okay.
yeah, I will follow up.
Very good. So that is done. We'll figure out who's going to attend later on. Then the next thing is election of officers.
So
No
Chair
report.
Chair and Commission, there was no staff report with this. Mr. Kempe is currently your chairperson, Mr. Levine is your vice chairperson. This was tabled from your January meeting as well. We are looking for the group to decide and determine officers to serve for the remainder of 2020. And we do that by voice nomination and voice vote. So if you have procedural questions, I can stand for those. Otherwise, I turn it back to the board to confer.
I propose the same chair and vice chair be retained for 2020.
I second that motion.
Okay, you've not had enough of us yet.
Would you like to?
Yeah, I'll continue, sure.
And that's acceptable to me as well.
Okay, so I will assume there's a second in there somewhere. So we'll-
second, yeah.
We'll call that to a vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I should probably abstain, or maybe not. No, I'll just say aye. So it's unanimous. Okay, visitor presentations, we have no visitors. Board presentations, anything here? Staff, anything?
Chair and board, we have nothing further for you tonight.
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second. All's in favor?
All right?
Aye, that's unanimous.
I'm gonna leave some paper here for Mike.